What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing some maintenance on my dirt bike, my YZ250. It's a 2001, and we're going to we're going to check the air filter, change the tranny oil. We already checked tire pressures. If you follow our YouTube channel, you can see our YouTube short. We installed the ProMoto billet kickstand, which is super trick. And the big thing, we're going to rebuild the forks today. So follow along and we'll show you how to do some dirt bike maintenance. So my 2001 YZ250 is pretty much bone stock, other than it had a pretty bad vibration. So I put these Renthal fat bars on it and a Moose Racing bar pad. I like this bar pad just because it's a lot bigger. And it's pretty much all stock, the way that I bought it off of somebody else.
Hey Dad, why is there no graphics on the tank?
That's a really good question, Lincoln. So these older Yamahas in this era, I don't know 100% the years of it, but the plastic tanks used to just crack. And so one day, the bike was probably about 15 years old, maybe longer than that. Maybe it was closer to 20 years old. Um, I came in the shop and I could smell gas, and I went and I looked, and the tank had some cracks, just like just cracked, and it started leaking. So I didn't know why. Did some research and found out that that was a normal thing. So, shoo. Anyway, so I took the tank off and I set it on a 5-gallon pail, and I went in the house. The next day when I came out, there was like 5 more cracks, and the whole thing had emptied all of its gas into the pail. So I'm glad that I put it on the pail. So this is an aftermarket tank. It's dirty, dusty, but it's made by a company called Clark out of the U.S. I went with that instead of a stock replacement because I just didn't want it to crack again in the future. So that's why there's no graphics on the tank.
And that pipe looks like it's brand spanking new.
It is brand spanking new. So at the same time that I was doing the tank on the bike, I had the plastics off, and on the mount, I don't know if you can see, um, there's this mount right here, Link. On the back side of the pipe back in here, I never noticed until I'd taken the pipe off that there was a huge crack, probably about 3 or 4 inches long, in that expansion chamber. So I started looking around on the used market, like on Marketplace, or here in Canada, we have a thing called Kijiji, which is similar to the American Craigslist. And I found a fella that had a 2021 YZ250 that he put aftermarket pipe and stuff on, which is crazy that this pipe was the exact same after 20 years. It just bolted right up. So that's why there's a brand new pipe on there. Anyway, okay, that's a little bit about the bike. Let's get into doing some maintenance. All right, guys, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the seat off so we can check the air filter in the air box. I haven't looked at this in many years, so I don't even know what it's going to look like in there. Who knows? Maybe it's full of spiders or something. Okay, so... Oh, that doesn't look bad. Ready Racing. Ooh, yeah, it's very sticky. Oh, no. Oh, it looks like it's all separating. Look at that, guys. Okay, well, we're going to take this out. We're going to do a proper inspection on it. And if nothing else, we'll put on the other one I've got. I've got a twin air filter. So typically I like to have a spare always oiled up and ready to go. So that if you're out riding and that one gets dirty, you can just swap it out with a clean one. So anyway, to take this one out, I don't know what it's like on all air filters. Like I said, guys, this thing's been sitting forever because I used to ride a lot. And then when I had kids, I kind of stopped riding. Now my kids are getting into dirt biking. So now we're going to start riding again, which is a lot of fun. What a great family sport. So we snowmobiles and now dirt bikes. I think Mama Bear is going to get a quad though. So you just pull this bolt all the way out, and there's a washer, and then the air filter comes off, and there's the plastic frame. So, look at that. That's weird. I don't know. Ugh. You know what though? Like the finer foam on the inside. Oh, never mind. It just tore. Look at that, guys. It's no good. That's toast. So this one is going in the garbage. Oh my gosh. I'm just pulling it apart. There's like no effort at all to take that apart. Wow. I wonder if that's like it's just tearing and ripping. It's very old, and I wonder if the oil has degraded like the glue and stuff. Crazy. Okay, well, this is going to go in the garbage, and we'll show you guys how to oil an air filter and put a new one in. Okay, so this is the other air filter that I have for the dirt bike. It's called the Twin Air. I don't even know if they make these anymore, but we did a little inspection and it's not coming apart like the other one was. So this is the one we're going to use. So Link, come here. I'm going to show you guys how to oil it. So open that up, buddy. And yeah, it's like very gooey and sticky. So now just start pouring it on the filter. Wait, watch when it starts coming out. You don't want to go too fast. Slow down. There you go. There you go. Okay, more. Yep, that's good. A little more. You just kind of keep drizzling like that, bud, and I will. Okay, that's good. That's plenty. So now you see, you guys, you want to make sure that you get this foam filter oil. Link, show the guys on the camera what we're using there. So it's a foam filter oil. We might need more actually, buddy. And you want to massage it all around and get it so that the whole filter is covered. So I need just a bit there, bud. It's going to start coming out right there. Okay, whoa, that's good. That, and a little bit right here. I'll just do this. There we go. Now I want you to pour just a hair on that area. Start pouring. Guys, another thing you want to do is you want to grease the seal. So that's good, Link. You want the seal that we just poured it onto, but you want to also grease it, and the grease will help seal it to the air box. So I'm definitely going to be buying another one of these because I don't know. This one looks like it's good for now. The inside is in very good shape. And the outside's in good shape. It's just that other one, the Ready filter, that thing is toast. But this one's in good shape. So, okay. This looks pretty good. It's all oiled up. So now, there's the frame. Now this frame holds the shape of the air filter so it doesn't collapse when you're riding. And the shape of it, you can see there's a locating pin that fits into the filter. So I'm just going to put the filter over top of the cage. There we go. So the filter is all the way over top of the gauge, or cage, not gauge, it's over the cage, and that's poking through a little bit. So now, Link, do you want to grab the grease off of the workbench there, buddy? Make sure this is on in the proper spot.
Which one is it?
The Lucas grease. Should be a jar. Is there no jar there?
It doesn't look like. Oh, this one?
No, that's all oil. Okay. It's right there.
Oh, right there.
It's hiding under that plastic bag. So sometimes you can use the grease out of a grease gun, but we're just going to use this. Open it up there, buddy. And then we'll just show the folks what we're doing. So this is just axle grease. And I'm just going to take a little bit. And I'm just going to rub a little bit right here. Just like this along the seal. So that when we put it in, this part seals properly against the frame of the, or the, sorry, not the frame, the edge of the air box. So that way there's no dirt intrusion getting past this part. Right? So you kind of want to leave it so it's elevated a little bit, like a little kind of like a ridge. I don't know if this is the right way, guys. This is just what I've always done, and I've never had issues. There we go. So just like that. Okay. we're going to pause for a second and put some stuff away and grab the phone off the stand, and we'll show you guys how to put it in. Okay, so now we're going to put this in the cage, and you can see there's this slot here that fits on this kind of in the center of the air box, and this hole is where that locating dowel goes. So we'll just slide this down inside and kind of just place it right over top like that. And we'll put the washer and the bolt. Oh, I have to put the bolt in a little bit. There we go. And then we'll just tighten this up so that it's snug. You don't want to over tighten it and break the cage. But yeah, so that's it. That's how you change and oil your dirt bike air filter. And that's snug. That's it, all done. On to the next thing.
So now we're on to the transmission, and right here is the transmission oil plug, and right here is the transmission oil filler cap.
So what size is the drain plug, Link?
This one right here is a 12 mil.
And then, sorry, I was just going to ask, how do we know when the transmission's full?
This little bolt right here marked with the white, when you take that out and the oil starts dribbling, that's when you know it's full.
Cool. One more question. What kind of oil does this bike take?
10W30.
Really? Well, that's convenient because that's very common oil, isn't it?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, see how it's angled towards the bike stand. What do you think? Are we going to get oil all over the place? I hope not. I'm going to get oil all over my hands. Again, I didn't put gloves on today. Oh, well, that's fine. This oil plug, believe it or not, Link, is a new one because the guy that owned the bike before me put it on so tight I could not get it out. I actually had to weld a big nut onto it to get it out, and it destroyed the old one. Hey, can you open the transmission filler so we get some air in, and this will hopefully drain a little quicker? Okay. Do you need some tools?
Probably.
All right. All right, so we've got our transmission oil, 10W30. I don't think it really matters what you use because you're supposed to change it. It says in the manual every 5 rides, but I mean, like, depending on what you're doing, if you're in the muskeg or you swamp it or something, you're going to change it sooner anyway. So this is just some motor oil we had sitting on the bench, and we're going to use that. Link, don't you dare tell Mom that we stole one of her measuring cups, okay?
Okay.
I'm just kidding, guys. My wife got this for me just for this purpose in the shop. And so we're going to take our 750 mils, which it calls for in the book. And we're going to put that in the transmission. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it calls for it in the book. I'm going to check the book real quick. Link, why don't you show them where it says it on the side of the transmission?
Right there.
So it should be 750, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. For the amount of oil that came out, it sure did not seem like that's how much went in, or how much we're going to put in. Transmission oil replacement. I don't know why this manual has English. I don't know if that's French, German. I don't even know what this is. I have no clue. There we go. 0.75 liters, 750 milliliters, or 0.66 quarts, or 0.79 US quarts. Well, we're going to go with 0.75 liters. So here we go. And it's going to come with that oil dribble bolt. I'm probably going to make a mess everywhere. That's okay. We'll see what happens when we get up there. Maybe that's how much did go in there. Link, if you see it come out with that bolt, make sure you tell me. All right. While we're pouring the oil in and waiting for oil to come out, it's kind of like waiting for paint to dry. If you guys are interested or
Interested. It's coming out.
What? Oh, shoot. Okay. Where'd the bolt go? Yeah, there's no way that was 750 milliliters. Wow, that's crazy. You know, I wonder if there's something else going on here. Maybe it's because of the way the bike's sitting. I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to be right back. We're just going to clean this oil up. All right, well, next we're going to take the forks off because the fork seals are leaking and we've got new fork seals to install. So I rebuilt the forks a few years ago with new seals and bushings, but the seals have started to fail because they've just been sitting and they dried out. So you can see it's just all this oil all down in here. It's leaking. So we're going to replace, this is just your wiper seal, and then inside is your actual oil seal. So to do that, we got to pull the front wheel off, and then we'll pull these plastic shrouds off and the brake caliper, and then we should just be able to loosen the bolts on the triple tree and they'll slide right out. So we'll grab some tools and we'll get right into it. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these plastic fork protectors off on the lowers. So we're going to use an 8mm and we'll just zip those off right now. So there's those. So this should just pop out and come around the brake line. I think if you, oh, you got twisted the other way. Oh, what was that? Oh, little spacer. Okay. Here's a tech tip. Don't lose your spacers out of the plastic. All right, so there's that side. And this one, just like that. So those two are out. Next, we're going to pull this plastic guard. I think we're going to pull the front axle and we'll drop the wheel. We'll probably pull these plastic pieces here too. What are these held on with? Another 8. So we'll take these out because these are just going to get in the way anyway. So pull those out. There you can see that's the leaking seal. It's getting pretty bad. The only thing is we'll have to make sure that when we go to put these back on that they're oriented in the right position on the fork for those lower slider protector covers on there. Look at this, hey guys? Look at how greasy and oily that is. So that's no bueno. So we'll have to fix that. Yeah, so we'll drop the front axle, drop the front wheel. But I think next we're going to take that plastic protector off here. This is just protecting the brake line. There we go. So that one's out. So if you guys watched on the video where me and Zoe changed the tire tube on her bike, and we just had to pull the axle out. This one here actually has clamps on both sides. You can see there's a clamp on this side as well that clamps the axle. So take those clamps off. We'll take this nut off. I don't know what else we have to do. I think we got to take the whole caliper off. I say I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know what I'm doing. All right, let's see. Let's grab a little extension here. I don't believe that these axle bolts need to come all the way out. I think you can just loosen them. Okay. We need different tools. We'll be right back. Okay, so we got the 3/8 impact, which does a lot better job. And we loosened off the two here and the two here that are like clamping the axle bolt together. We still got to take this nut off. And then I believe the axle will slide out this side. I can't remember. We might have to look in the book. Anyway, we're going to take these two bolts off. So the caliper comes off, and then this brake line holder. And then we have the triple tree clamps. So we've loosened off those both sides, and I'm going to start to loosen these ones off, but I didn't want the whole thing to slide out because we want to take the forks out one at a time, and we'll just work on one at a time. So this is kind of a tricky process on rebuilding these forks. So I know this is kind of a rookie move, but this is something that I like to do is if you don't have a book or something, so be it like drum brakes on a trailer or, you know, forks or something like that. If you have one intact and you take one all apart, if you make a mistake, you can look at the one that's all together to kind of try to figure out how to put the other one back together. So, I mean, That's why I like to do them one at a time. Whatever. Anyway, take the brake caliper off right now. And when you take the brake caliper off, it's really important that you do not pull the brake lever at all when you have this out, because it'll squish together and it'll be really hard to spread it in order to get it back on the bike, on the rotor. Here's the brake line clamp. That's going to fall off on me. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing too, guys, is with this being leaking all over the brakes and stuff, the brakes are just absolute garbage right now. So we might actually pull the brake pads. I believe they come out. Oh, so you got to pull this pin here, and they should just slide right out. We're gonna soak them with brake cleaner, and hopefully that works. If not, we're going to bleed the brake fluid all the way down as well, because I think maybe the brakes aren't squishing very good, so like they're really stiff almost, and so we want to make sure that we have good front brakes, because believe it or not, you use front brakes on a dirt bike more than the back brakes. So all right, so we're going to carry on, and we'll show you guys when we pull the front wheel in a second here. All right, so to pull this big axle nut off, I tightened up the clamp on this side of the forks, and then this was a 21 millimeter nut, so I got that backed off. So we'll loosen this clamp again. There we go. And so the nut is backed off most of the way. We're just going to give it a little tap with the dead blow. Perfect. So that looks like it's going to come out just fine. So the reason I left the nut on when I went to tap it with the dead blow is because I didn't know if it would start moving right away, and I was reluctant to just hit it on the end because I don't want to damage the threads. So 2 reasons I kept the nut on there is to help not damage the threads, and also just to help get it moving, I guess. I don't know. Look at that, the fork's bouncing back and forth. Okay, why isn't that going out? Okay, we're probably going to grab a punch or something to get it the rest of the way. Hang on. All right, so we got the axle almost out, guys. And so we're just going to make sure that we pay attention to the order of the spacers in that. So I'm going to pull the axle out, and I'm sure, I thought maybe something might fall to the floor. I don't know yet. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. So there's a spacer from this side. And then there's a spacer on this side, because there's actually seals and bearings in the wheel. So I'm just checking the bearings. That one seems okay. That one seems okay too. All right, so we'll put that back in order, and then we're just going to set this to the side, because we don't actually need to worry about that right now. So next up is just going to be pulling the forks out one at a time. So there's a big, I think there's an Allen here. Show the folks underneath, Link, with the phone. Is that an Allen underneath there? I can't see quite. Let me look. Yeah, there's a big Allen underneath the bottom there on both sides. And I think that's one you got to take out. If you have problems taking it off with this sitting on the bench using an impact, sometimes you have to put it back in your bike and tighten up the triple clamps, and then you can pop those out. But anyway, so now that that one's there, let me grab, like we've got the wheel out, I'm going to grab this impact. We're going to slide this one fork right out, and then we'll take it up to the workbench and show you guys kind of how the process of taking it apart to rebuild it. So there we go. Our triple clamps are all loose, and this should just slide right out. There we go. There's one fork out. we'll rebuild this on the bench, and then we'll take the other one out. All right, so I think we made a mistake. So we put the fork back in, you guys, because we got to loosen off this top cap. So I tightened up the top triple clamp, and I got a 19 millimeter wrench, and we're just going to see if we can break this loose. There we go. See how that came loose for us? So it's much easier to do that on the bike. You can have some leverage like that versus doing it on the bench. Or like, I don't really have the right tools to put this whole thing in the vise. And so I don't really want to clamp it in the vise because there's risk of damaging the fork tube or the bottom. Well, we got that one going. I think we're going to loosen this one at the same time here. So you can kind of brace the bike and just crack it loose. Just like that. So I think that's step one, is we got to take these caps off. So I'm just going to loosen them. I prefer to use a socket because it's a 6-point, because these caps are aluminum, and that way you don't risk rounding them off. But it actually wasn't that tight, and the wrench is a 12-point, so I mean, it's okay though. Okay, I think that one's loose enough. This one's really stiff. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just because the O-ring inside is. Oh, there we go. The O-ring was a little bit dry. So I think you have to be careful when you do this, because I'm pretty sure the spring will go boing, but I could be wrong. Hang on. Where did that impact go? On the bench. Listen, how about we use this one until we find the other one, Link?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's good enough for this part. Slide that out of the forks. And I think I should be able to just take this off. I don't remember if spring has a bunch of tension on it or not. No, it doesn't. Okay, there we go. I think what we're going to do next is dump the oil out of it. So we'll be right back. All right, so me and Link cheated. We already rebuilt this one fork. And the reason we did that is because we didn't want to look like a bunch of newbies on video and trying to figure this out. I've done it a lot before, but I'm sure that most of them are slightly different on how you do it, but just slightly. We just want to make sure we didn't make a mistake in showing you guys. So anyway, on this one, come over here, you can see this top cap we've loosened off. So it's a 19 millimeter on the top, and the triple clamp here on the top is tight. So we're going to back this one off, and then we'll show you guys how to take this all the way out. So, oh, excuse me, Link. Sorry, buddy. So now we're going to just twist and pull this fork out of the triple clamp. Okay, so that's all the way out. I got to grab the drain pan. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have to pull this top cap off. So your outer fork tube and your inner fork tube, right? So when you pull this top one off, hey, look at this, Link. See how dirty that is? I think that wasn't tight enough. Anyway, we pull this one out. There we go. So now this outer tube will slide down. Part of the problem with that, though, is you've got all the oil in there. Now, to take this top cap off, you have to pull the spring down, and there's a hex inside there. So you're going to need a thin wrench. So we have this thin 17 mil wrench. So I'm just going to slide that in between there. And then this is our 19 to take the top off. Now this one's going to be tough to do because I said it's full of oil. I'll tell you what, let's dump the oil first. So got our drain pan here, and we're going to dump all the oil. We're going to dump most of it anyway. I don't think it'll all come out. So we've got the paper towel on the workbench just to keep a clean work surface. But it's also going to absorb a bunch of this oil that's going to come out, because we're going to lay the fork down here so we can do this. So this is kind of like when we do carburetors, guys. You want to make sure that you're nice and clean, right? So here we go. Let's put that down. and break that loose. So this was quite easy to take off, but see it gets stiff here again, and I don't know what that is. I think that's something to do with the damper. Let's get past that point. Okay, so now the cap is off. Okay, we're going to pull the spring out. We're going to keep this stuff kind of in the right order too. Okay, so now to take these two tubes off, we're going to actually try and dump more oil again. Okay, there we go. Oh, I made a mess on the floor. Dang it. All right. So now, guys, like, come to the other side, buddy. So now we don't have to take the bottom part apart. We don't have to take the damper rod out. We don't have to do any of that to take these forks apart to replace the seals, because we're just replacing the wiper seal and then the oil seal. So right here, this outer seal is called the wiper seal. So I'm just going to pry that out with a screwdriver, making very carefully sure that I don't damage this inner tube, because if you scratch that inner tube, you might as well just throw this in the garbage because it'll never seal again. So, okay, so there's that one. Now, I don't know if you guys can see in here or not, but there's a circlip in there. So this circlip, you just need to pop it out. Bob's your uncle. That one's out. So slide that one back. Now, you're like, Chris, how do you get that seal out of there? I'll show you guys. Watch this. Done. That's out. So this is all in pieces. Oh, that's our damper rod. Okay, there's our outer tube. There's our damper rod. Now here's our upper bushing, our lower bushing, a washer, and the seal. So these pieces all need to come off and stay in the proper order. Okay, so you can see it's a split bushing. So you got to be very careful when you split this. You don't want to spread it too far and possibly damage it or warp it. And again, we're going to keep these in the right order. Okay, and we got to pay attention to the order they go in. So there's the bushing, the top bushing. Oh, don't you dare run away. Make sure we clean that before we put it back in. Okay, here's the lower bushing. Here's the washer. Now, it's important to note the orientation of this seal. Okay, guys? Because it's got to go over these ridges. So this is the culprit. This is the one that's leaking all the oil. We have the circlip. And then we have the wiper seal. Okay. There we go. So now it's all disassembled. Guys, let me clean my hands up because I got dirt and oil and schmutz all over it. And then I'm going to show you how to put this all back together. Okay, so now we've got it all taken apart and it's inspected and cleaned up. And so then I just took a Ziploc bag. I use these for little parts bags in the shop all the time. And so we just cut the top off, throw that in the garbage. And this bag, we're going to put over the end of the fork. And the reason we're doing this is because there's ridges and lips here, and we do not want to damage the seals as we put them on. So I'm going to take a little bit of the fork oil and lubricate this plastic bag. Okay. Now I've got the fork seals sitting in the oil itself so that they're lubricated as well. So first thing you want to do is the wiper seal. And this one here is where you got to make sure that you have the right orientation. Otherwise, it's not going to fit into the fork when you're done. So the wiper seal is the one that wipes all the dirt and schmutz off the fork before it gets to the oil seal. Now to get it over top of this lip, you kind of have to be gentle and just kind of work it around, okay? Because you don't want to flip that lip the wrong way. So now it's lubed up and it's going to kind of push and work gently until we can kind of get the one side over. And once we get the one side over, the rest of it should just fall into place. All right, last fork went really well. This one's being kind of a pain. A little more lube. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay, there, yep. And now that I've got it past the plastic bag, okay, we put that down. Now we're going to just have a check and look at the lip and the spring. Everything looks like it's in perfect shape. So that's good. There we go. So that one's done. Our circlip goes in next. And then we've got the next seal. Okay, this one's also been soaking in oil. And again, you got to make sure you have the right orientation. There we go. So that seal's on. Done with that plastic bag. Our flat washer. Our bottom bushing. And I already cleaned this one. This is our top bushing. All snapped back into place. So now we can set this back into our fork tube. So the fork tube fits in with the bushings. Okay, and this is the right orientation here. Now we got to push that. Oh, we're making a mess. We have to push that back in. So this is a seal driver set that we got off of Amazon for like $60 or something. So it just snaps together. There we go, the bushings in. And then our oil wiper seal is next. Don't worry about the mess on the bench, guys. I know it looks bad, but don't worry about that. So this, again, just these plastic clips fit in. It's hard to do with just one hand standing it up. And I don't know if this is the right orientation, but it's working. So we did one already like this. Get that circlip out of the way. Oh my gosh. Okay. There we go. So that should be in place. And now that circlip should just pop in. So it's down in there, and we just push it in with a screwdriver gently until it pops into the groove. Done like that. The wiper seal, you want to get it started by hand. That's it, done. There you go, guys. That's how you rebuild your fork seals on your forks in like, I don't know, what was that, 5 minutes? So now we're going to clean this up, fill it with oil, and check your manual to make sure you know the proper amount of oil and the technique to put the oil in it. Because I know some, you want to have it on the bike and you have to have it a certain amount from the top down, or some you have to work the forks. This one here, you have to fill it up all the way, run the damper rod up and down, run the outer fork up and down, measure the height from the top down, and then reassemble. So that I'm not going to show you right here because it's year, make, model specific. So we're just going to finish putting this back together, and then we're going to show you guys how to put everything back together on the bike. All right, guys, so we got the front end all back together, and the brakes felt a little bit squishy, so we decided to bleed the brakes, and we kind of forgot to film that. Sorry. But I don't think we really gained anything, so maybe it's a little bit better. So anyway, that's about it for the maintenance on the YZ250. Uh, Other than that, we're ready to go ripping this weekend. We're gonna do some dirt bike camping, and it's gonna be a good time. So, what do we tell the folks at home, Link?
See you in the next one.